My name is Venugopal. I am a senior manager business strategy for manufacturing and industry 4.0 at Tata Elxsi, Bangalore, India. Today I will be discussing on how to leverage AI, IoT and AR VR technologies to deliver digital twins in the context of worker safety and safety training. So I would be briefly touching upon the regulatory requirements for worker safety and the kind of requirements typically manufacturing industry workers have safety needs, and Tata Elxsi approach to address these manufacturing industry worker safety, supported by some case studies from our company, then with conclusion. First of all, let's look at the regulatory demands for worker safety. Today, the need of the hour for companies is to go for sustainable development. Basically, the UN Sustainable Development Goals will tell specifics related to environment, social governance consideration under the UN Principles of Responsible Investments. So we need to really follow these sustainable development goals to make sure we are going to operate in the clean, green environment and giving the right kind of environmental and societal environment for our world. So if you look at, there are about 17 sustainable development goals charted by UN, which are aligned to the environment, social and government consideration. These are like typically try to end the poverty, zero hunger, provide good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, like that. Out of these 17, if we really look at, there are 3 of them are directly related to worker safety in the terms of occupational safety and health. This is good health and well-being, which will really give a kind of it will protect in some sense the human rights, because we are really treating the workers like the way they're supposed to be treated, and give them the right kind of good health and well-being by providing decent environment, and this will lead to eventually economic growth. And these peace, justice and strong institutions which are really striving hard to do sustainable development and protect the environment, be it from the carbon footprint or from ensuring green atmosphere. So these all 3 OHS parameters touch the dimensions of environment, social governance aspects for a sustainable development. So apart from this regulatory thing, there is also a kind of push coming from International Labor Organization for health and safety at the workplace to provide decent work for sustainable development. When we say International Labor Organization is putting a lot of thrust on this, there should be some consideration behind it. We have some kind of stats here. On an average, every year, some 2.3 million workers die at the workplace due to fatal accidents and other accidents. And about 313 million workers suffer from non-fatal injuries, and about 160 million workers suffer from non-fatal work-related diseases. These are all leading to a lot of consequential losses, and this consequential loss is estimated to be about 4% of world's annual GDP. The world's annual GDP is in the range of 85 trillion, kind of, it is upwards going year on year. So in that, if you say a 4% consideration, it is close to 3.4 trillion US dollars is a loss due to these consequential losses, which is quite huge, and no one can afford this. It will really impact the economies. That's the reason International Labor Organization is also putting a lot of thrust on good health and safety for the workers. So these are the kind of considerations coming from different regulatory things, which is really forcing all organizations to think and put more focus on workers' well-being than ever before. So we, in this process, Tata Elxsi has been working for last 25 years with various manufacturing industries and automobile industries all over the globe. So we have been interacting with some of the safety heads and people who are concerned with the worker safety to understand the challenges at workplace and how they want to really reduce the fatalities and risk. So over a period of time, we gathered the kind of information by doing a kind of discussions and bit of research that they need a very efficient training. Workers need very efficient training to work in high risk zones or while they're operating heavy machinery, because these are all very difficult to do for a normal situation. So if they don't practice, if they don't have the right kind of safety regulations and norms followed, it can lead to some kind of casualties. And also some of the hazardous situations which are quite possible on the shop floor, like sudden fire break or gas leakage or electrical shocks, or when people are working in confined areas, there could be some challenges to escape from there in casualties. So these are all require a kind of well preparedness and well versed with the how to respond in those situations. And similarly, each area of working in a factory floor will have different safety norms. For example, the norms to be followed in a area where you need to work in electrical safety area, or in a fire safety, or a road or rail tracks where they're crossing over too much, there will be a lot of different things to be followed. So these also one need to have a good awareness to be behaving the right way in the real situation. And finally, every organization has a commitment to offer a decent work environment which ensures near zero fatalities. So these are all the things we could collect as the typical requirements of manufacturing industry worker safety. Then Tata Elxsi, being a design consultancy company which uses design-led philosophy for any solutions what we formulate. So we thought of coming out with some approaches. Of course, there are quite many approaches to handle this worker safety and worker safety training. But some of the things we found very useful for our customers was coming with a digital twin, which is a virtual model to develop more efficient illustrative safety training programs. For example, how to face a electric shock in a live environment, how to handle gas leakages, how to do fire related issues. All these things can be done in a digital environment because it is very risky to try them on the live situations. And if they are taught only in a classroom training, generally most of the companies will have only classroom trainings. There they may not have the complete understanding about this, how to react, how to respond in the right situation. So we use digital twins supported by AR/MR solution to give them the experience of these kind of things and make them ready with a lot of practice, etc. And Tata Elxsi, also being a design company, we came out with an innovative concept of designing an experiential safety training center. Because as a human beings, we are all very much biologically, any experience, good or bad, we remember or retain for a longer duration. So using that philosophy, we built a new curriculum on experiential safety training compared to the traditional classroom trainings happen in various customer places. And lastly, the technology supported solutions. These are like sensor based, camera based things using AI ML techniques to give a second line of support, a kind of different protection on the shop floor. Despite having well trained people, still they may do some mistakes once in a while. We need to protect their lives. So this will offer that kind of industrial safety and security. So now I will talk about some of the case studies from our customers. We have been working with various customers, offering these solutions for a while. So in one of our customer places, they were having a challenge of exposing their workers to hazardous situations and prepare them very well in order to ensure that they won't do any mistakes working in the real life situation. So we kind of offered a solution based on mixed realities application using head-mounted devices like Microsoft HoloLens or Lenovo AR glasses or Epson glasses. With this, people can explore using that MR application. They can try various scenarios, explore and learn by experience. Even if they do some mistake through the ill effects, they will understand, oh, they violated some of the safety guidelines and norms, and they should not be doing this, which can lead to an issue when they are really working on the live site. So with this kind of a solution implemented, we could equip the workers to respond properly in all hazardous situations without getting panicky. They're properly responding now because they're already kind of prepared and aware of these things. It is leading to a lot of reduction in casualties. So these are the couple of examples we have done with our customers. One of them is the electrical shock experience. When people work on a high voltage equipment with big motors and etc., there are times if they do some mistake, there could be a huge shock, which is very catastrophic. So these things before operating, they should learn much before. So we give an application, MR-based application. They can go to the live system, except not having the electricity for the time being. They can learn by doing few things in a regular way. And if they make some mistakes somewhere, that MR application will trigger a kind of an effect, which can be treated as, oh, he did a mistake. That's the reason this is happening. So once or twice doing that mistake, the guy will understand if I do similar thing on the live side, there could be a danger to me. So then he will be well prepared to not to do that in future. So here the advantage of this is they can do mistakes also because this is not on the live thing. It's more of a replica in a digital twin model, but it is as similar to the real world. So that is the advantage of using digital twin in this application. Similarly, gas leak experience is another thing. There are times people when they're operating various pipelines and other things, by mistake they do some something are not really supposed to be doing, it may lead to a gas leak. There are some gases which are very hazardous in some chemical industries and etc. that may cause effect to others in the neighborhood. So in order to get them well equipped how to operate in a systematic and in a proper way, they could also try these things in the environment of digital twin, wherein if they do mistake also doesn't matter, but it will give them more preparedness to behave the way they're supposed to be when they're on the shop floor. So then next one is, as I told you, Tata Elxsi, we could design as experiential safety training. This is primarily combining digital with the physical also, because not every time we can teach everything in the real system, because it's not practically possible. Because even if you teach, there will be surrounding machinery, a lot of people movement, some of the rotary equipment. There could be a lot of risk while we are training on the shop floor. At the same time, if you do everything in digital, they may not have the right connect with the real world when they really face the factory floor eventually. So this is a combination of digital physical model wherein we use all the physical props, everything to replicate the workspace scenarios, and use digital content to create various scenarios to see what if I do this, what kind of consequences can happen kind of. And sometimes we can also give a kind of a moral of the story kind of, if somebody does a mistake, it could lead to his loss of a limb or arm or something, which eventually can make his job loss, which can lead to hunger and poverty. So these things can be shown so that they will be much more prepared not to do this in this. So when we went, the company was asking, yeah, can you help us with this kind of a training? Because there is a lot of retraining we are doing right now, because people cannot remember the training for a longer duration. That is when we said we could design an experiential safety training. With that, your retention can be more because you're experiencing it, that will go for lifetime remembrance. So with this, the training period, which used to be an average 1 day, now it has reduced to 2 hours of training is good enough, and it is reducing the casualty significantly, and about 30% reduction in retraining compared to the previous way. So people are much more involved because this is impactful interactive training. So if you see this, each company based on their way of application, there will be different zones they will be operating. It could be electrical safety, heavy vehicular movement, or working at heights, or road safety, rail safety. Various things will be there. Some of them are common to various industries, but some of them are very specific to a particular industry. Like working in a confined zones may not be in every industry, but some industries may have. So we designed each zone in a separate way using physical digital combination, putting some of the live equipment, mannequins, and some of the digital signages, boards to give a explanation about few things, and also some of the digital content created through videos to tell how to operate those sequences, how to follow safety instruction, and what if they don't do also. See, many times the negative impact is very, very much remembered. If somebody thinks that, okay, if he doesn't do this, what would happen? We should tell him rather than saying, don't do it. So all these things can be experienced in each zones. Similarly, we created one personal protection equipment zone to try. Each zone will have a different PPE equipment, not common to all. So they can try all these things and understand, since they're interacting and involved, it's more impactful training will happen. Same thing with the heavy vehicular movement zone, how a set of norms to be followed in that, because a lot of heavy vehicle movement, if you don't take precautions, it could lead to accidents. Similarly, working at height, somebody working beyond 1.7 meters need to have a full body harness. It is not only harness, but he also needs to ensure a right anchor points to hook it so that he doesn't fall. So here we could even try, what if he doesn't use the right anchor point, or what if he doesn't use the right gear or harness. So because this is more of a training setup, but at the same time it gives very close look of the reality. But we are trying with a lot of things in an experimental way, where they can try and learn through mistakes and become more alert when they face the real situation. Something like gas cutting and weld zone also, we create some of the effects. They can experiment and try it out various combinations, and finally try to understand how exactly they should operate this critical equipment. Similarly, rail safety zone, this is another one, and material handling is another zone, where the nuances of those zones, how a worker should properly work in those areas following a set of norms will be taught. So this, all of these things are more involved, like kids playing the games. These people can play with it, experience it, and enjoy the fun kind of, at the same time learning about what are the right things to do what are the things to avoid so that they will be well equipped when they face the live site. Another thing, as I told you, one is using digital twins for training, other is experiential safety training. These are all training people to be well prepared to face the shop floor situation eventually. But what if, despite all these things, if something goes wrong, still we need to protect their lives and their health and well-being. So we need to have a second line of protection. So for this, we use a lot of sensors and camera-based other things to give a lot of protection systems. One of the things we found is people working in remote areas, especially people working in mines kind of areas, they will be sometimes risky propositions, and they also will be working alone. So we need to trace and track them, number one. Number two, we need to give them some kind of emergency support if anything goes wrong. So this is right now becoming a challenge. The emergency support goes a little late. It can lead to fatalities. So in any case, people are supposed to wear safety helmets in these scenarios. What we did was we designed a kind of a sensor related tracking things which is fitted to the helmet, which can track them continuously and keep sending the message to the central station, which is also having a SOS button just in case if something happens, goes wrong, and the guy falls down, it will give automatic fall notification to the central station so that they could immediately send a rescue operation to save this guy. So this, we use LoRa technology, and this impact of this solution implementation was a significant reduction in number of deaths per year is happening, because now they're able to send a very quick rescue support to the people and save them a lot. And traceability has been improved so that now they know even if somebody is working in a remote location alone, they can quickly trace him. So this is the advantage of putting a safety system in place through technology. So this is the kind of helmet, industrial helmet, which has been fitted with the technology. Also, we use a lot of analytics using AI techniques, using video analytics. We kind of give a lot of support to the safety security of plants. So typically there are zones in every industry where people are not supposed to enter just like that. These are restricted zones. Only few people will be allowed to go there with permission, etc. And these things to be really monitored. Otherwise, a lot of times people go cross over them, and that will lead to some kind of operational risk. And secondly, some people sometimes by mistake or intentionally, unintentionally, don't follow the safety compliances when they're working in some zones. So this also can lead to some casualties. So it is very much important for organization to monitor them. So what we are doing is we are taking the output of CCTV output. Most of the plants will have already existing CCTV cameras on the shop floor. So without much of a new investment, we take this output, sorry, and then use video analytics using our AI platform called Aviva. So with that, we will figure out if something is not up to the mark, we'll send an immediate automatic alert to the management or to the safety manager to take precautions. So this, after implementing this solution, it is helping them to reduce the entry violations, which is helping them in leading to less operational risks. And also people are adhering to the safety compliance because they know that someone is observing, and there is a kind of monitoring system in place. It is going and giving alarm to the manager. So over a period of time, discipline comes and people are really adhering to the safety compliance. So if you look at this, a person here in the left hand side is having the right kind of PPE gear, as well as you will have some kind of permission to go. There could be some set rules defined. So through video analytics, we could figure out that this person is qualified to go, so no problem. Whereas someone else who is not qualified to go, it will immediately trigger an alert to the safety manager saying that someone is entering a restricted zone, is violating. So you can quickly take a precaution and avoid these issues. And secondly, this is another thing which is in a particular zone, when a worker is working, you need to have a typical PPE, be it a helmet or safety goggles or the aprons, everything. So if they are not wearing, that could be a violation. Or even if they're wearing, sometimes they may remove the helmet or goggles, which is also dangerous. So these things can be immediately discovered through video analytics, and alarm can be given so that manager can attend to and avoid it. Other one is worker alert monitoring. If somebody is not feeling well, suddenly falls down, because the environment is all machinery and moving equipment, it can lead to some complication. So this can immediately give an alert and somebody can do that. These are all some of the cases I showed, and because of shortage of time, I could not show more, but we have been doing very many. So as a design consultancy house, as I told, we designed innovative way of safety training methodologies using digital twins and safety experiential training center, and also putting some sensor based training to support the workers. The conclusion is, by providing this kind of safety working environment, it will reduce the number of casualties. Thereby, we protect the human being's life and all, which is the main theme of human rights. We need to protect human rights. We like to give right kind of life to the workers, etc. And this also reduces poverty and hunger, because something happens to the worker, he loses a job or something because he lost a limb, he can't work anymore. It eventually, his family can suffer poverty and hunger. So these things can be eliminated. And also, as I told in the beginning, on an average 3.4 trillion US dollars per year is getting a loss on account of global GDP because of these accidents and health related issues. Even if you reduce a 50% of it, I think it will save a humongous 1.8 to 2 trillion US dollars per year on a global GDP, which is a very good saving to economies, etc. So with this, I conclude that the worker safety is very important from the report, from the perspective of human rights, etc., providing good life and health and well-being to them, which is the directive of SDGs, of sustainable development goals of every organization and things. With this, I conclude.